Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kritika, moderator for the conference call. We welcome you all to Q1 FY23 conference call of Subros Limited, hosted by Aditya Birla Money. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then zero on your touchtone telephone. Please note that this conference is recorded. I would now like to hand over the floor to Mr. Vidrum Mehta of Aditya Birla Money. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. On behalf of Aditya Birla Money, we welcome you all to Q1 FY23 earnings conference call of Subros. From the management side, we have Mr. Pramod Kumar Duggal, CEO, Mr. Hemant Kumar Agrawal, CFO and VP Finance, Mr. Sukhbinder Singh Gill, who is an AVP Finance, and Mr. Shiv Ram Singh, who is Company Secretary. Before we start, may I remind you of Safe Harbor. There may be some forward-looking statements that have to be understood in conjunction with uncertainty and the risk that company faces. Now I'll hand over the call to the management for opening remarks, followed by interactive Q&A session. Thank you, and over to you, Duggal sir.
Okay, so good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and warm welcome to all of you to Subros investor call for Q1 FY22-23. The financial year 22-23 has started with a positive note as overall market scenario is improving. The market is showing sharp recovery and order booking at the OEM end is also very high. Passenger vehicle industry has grown by 33% on production basis in Q1 of FY22-23, and commercial vehicle truck industry has grown by more than 100% during the quarter, though the base for the last year was low due to the COVID impact. With the demand still beyond in passenger vehicle segment amid changes and regulatory pressures are still prevailing, many automobile manufacturers are upbeat to embrace new technologies, especially in the electric mobility space, which is expected to witness a slow of launch in both four-wheeler and two-wheeler segments. Supply chain challenges continue to persist, while on the one hand we have a sharp revival of demand. On the other hand, the high commodity prices, semiconductor crunches have aggravated the problem for automobile manufacturers, which is causing a major concern for industry per se and same as for the auto component suppliers as well. So during the quarter, we see some ease out in trends of commodity fluctuation, but rupee weakening is continued to be an economic risk, which is impacting the imports being costlier, especially in dollar. The results of Q1 22-23 has been shared with the stock exchange and also posted on our website. Now let me elaborate the summary of results one by one. First, I'll update about the industry relevant part of our business. In this quarter, the passenger vehicle industry has shown growth of 33% on production basis in comparison with the corresponding quarter of the last year, whereas Subros PV segment thermal business in Q1 has grown by 40% in comparison of corresponding quarter of last year. So we have done better than the industry performance due to model mix and SOP of new projects in Q1. Commercial vehicle bus has registered 182% growth during the year, whereas Subros growth in this area is 25% in comparison with the last corresponding quarter. Tourism sector, school bus business and public transport has started now becoming operational, but AC fitment ratio is yet to be improved. On commercial vehicle truck segment for N2, N3 category, which is relevant for AC blower and AC segment for our business, has shown upside trend after 2 years. The industry has grown by 105% in Q1 as compared to the corresponding quarter of the last year, and Subros growth in this area is 150% in the segment during the quarter. Growth mainly is because of more AC fitment ratio, which has improved from 18% to now 25%. Consumer preference is shifting towards AC trucks as compared to normal trucks because the fleet owners see some economic value by having AC trucks by using more mileage in this. This year, big impact of environment change has been seen in various parts of the country, impacting home appliance sales. This sector is showing promising growth now, and in this quarter, home air con sale has grown by 142% as compared to corresponding quarter of the last year. Total sales of this segment in this quarter so far is 69 crores. Revenue from operation has been recorded as 708.53 crores in this quarter. Corresponding quarter it was 480.45 crores. But in the last previous year, this quarter there was a lockdown in the month of May, which has impact of almost 22 days sale loss at the. Overall, there is a growth of 47% over corresponding quarter of the last year. Now let me explain each segment-wise contribution to sales during the quarter. In this quarter, car and non-car segment contribution ratio has improved to 76% and 24% respectively. So in the non-car segment, where we were almost 18 to 19%, now it has improved to 24% contribution overall. Maruti Suzuki and Suzuki Gujarat has contributed 75% of total sales during the quarter as against 82% in the corresponding quarter. Our sales of business in passenger vehicle AC market is maintained at 40% in this quarter, and share of business in truck segment is 51%, and in bus segment it is 25%. Now I'll talk about operational performance. New development of China lockdown during the quarter one due to the COVID outbreak in China has significantly increased the lead time of import shipment, and subsequent fluctuation of schedules by the OEM due to the semiconductor availability for a shorter period has impacted our overall inventory levels, and which has seen around 15 to 20% increase in our overall inventory levels during this period. We have been continuously reporting that commodity price fluctuations during last 6 months has impacted substantially on the material sales ratio. So far, the trend were upside, and even with the quarter-like compensation, it was not supporting MSR ratio because every quarter there was increase recorded. Now, since we see some ease out on the overall trend, maybe in next 2 quarters, we will see some benefit coming into our material sales ratio, and same as on the EBITDA level. The company has realized EBITDA of 45.35 crore in quarter one of 22-23. And if we see this EBITDA with the corresponding quarter of the last year, it has improved by 44%. And if we compare this by the previous quarter of last year, then it is down by 9%. Profit before tax in quarter one for FY22-23 is 17.38, which is 2.46% of the net sale. Same way, if we compare this profit margin as against the corresponding quarter of the last year, it has improved by 250%. And if we compare this with the last year quarter four, it is down by 18%. Profit after tax in quarter one is 11.43 crore, which is 1.62% of the net sale. So finally, to conclude the summary of the financial results, overall revenue 708.53 crore, which is 47% growth over the corresponding period. EBITDA level of 45.35 crores, which is 43% growth as against corresponding period. PBT of 17.38 crores, which is 250% growth against corresponding period, and PAT level of 11.43%, 43 crore, which is 267% growth against corresponding period. Few updates about the business. The market is showing sharp recovery. This I already mentioned. Not only in passenger vehicle, but bus segment and truck segment is also showing very promising growth trends now. We, at the start of the year, have indicated a projection of double-digit growth during this year. And in quarter one, we have shown a growth of 47%, though it is not completely comparable because of the lockdown period available in the corresponding period. But we see this is a more realistic projection that we continue to say that we will have a double-digit growth during this year. On the new business side, the mobility landscape is fundamentally transforming in the next 10 to 15 years. So autonomous driving, connected cars, electrified cars are going to contribute to the industry. The business side in the rail coach is progressing fine now. We already got the approvals from RDSO. Now we are eligible for coach aircon tenders for future, for commercialization. And also for development activities for all future programs where the business is already committed is also progressing very fine as per the customer milestone. In addition to that, Chennai plant has started supplying for Toyota Bangalore production, which is on behalf of Maruti Suzuki from this month, that is from the month of August. The supplies have already started as a first pilot lot, and the SOP will be, I think, within next 10 to 15 days time only. Also, the new Brezza production also started at Maruti, where we started the SOP in May 22. And in this business, we have compressor business as Delta, which was not there with us before. So that means there would be incremental revenue coming in from this new SOP. That's all from my side. Thank you very much. And now we are open for questions.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. If you have a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad and wait for your turn to ask a question. If you would like to withdraw your request, you may do so by pressing star and 1 again. I repeat, if you have a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad. We will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. First question comes from Ashin Modi from Equirus Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for providing me the opportunity. So we have mentioned that this quarter there was sequential decline in gross margin due to the revenue mix. So which were the sectors, which were the businesses which impacted the margin adversely, and what sort of a margin, profile we had in different businesses?
So gross margin, as I mentioned, has declined as against the last year. But if you see from the corresponding period, it has gone up. So major contribution of gross margin dip is mainly because of home AC sale, which has increased in this particular quarter because of the seasonal impact, which may not be there in the full year, but there would be a gradual impact coming in from there. The major contribution mainly from the home aircon.
Okay. And sir, going forward, since most of our imports are in yen, we would have a benefit of yen depreciation. So what sort of impact would that have on our margins going forward?
So since foreign exchange to the large extent is compensated by the customer, so both upside and downside trends will be adjusted in the pricing as per the formula agreed between various customers. So when yen is costlier or cheaper, both sides the adjustment will be factored in, but only gain can be to the extent of 1 quarter usage.
Okay. So you don't have a large gain next quarter?
No.
Okay. Okay. And sir, my last question was on the share of business side. So you have said that our share of businesses in bus is 25%. So who are our major customers, and who are our major customers in that?
So we are supplying to Force Motor. We are the largest supplier to Force Motor for bus aircon. We are also supplying to Volvo Eicher, Daimler, and also to the aftermarket. Bus body builders.
So any addition that is possible in this?
Yes, there are possibilities. So we are now expanding this customer base, and as we are moving more aggressively into the EV space, so the large OEMs who are now launching the large buses for state transport in EV side. So our engagement is on now to aggressively push the market in that area.
So do we see any order coming in for that?
Not exactly right now, because still the specifications are at the final stage, because EV is at a very initial stage in India, and every OEM is just trying to figure out the best possible combination of these products going forward. So still I think we will wait for another quarter or so for some order booking on this.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thanks for answering my questions.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad. I repeat, if you have a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad. We are having a question from Abhishek Jain from Dolat Capital. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, if we see the past trend of realization growth...
Abhishek, your voice is very low. Can you be louder, please?
Okay, sir. So, sir, if we see the past trend of the realization growth per vehicle, it is quite low versus increase in RM cost. It can also be seen in the last 8 quarters gross margin. That shows a significant under recovery on RM cost, especially for the ABS and nylon material. So now prices of commodity is on downtrend. Can we expect sharp gross margin expansion in the coming quarters?
Yes, Abhishek, as I mentioned in my remarks, that so far in 8 quarters, each quarter was showing on the upside. So whatever compensation we were getting in a quarter, again the actual consumption or the next quarter was on the upside. So the trend was always impacting the gross margin. Since now the recovery started, we see next 2 to 3 quarters when there will be ease out and we need not to pass on immediately to the OEM, it would be in the subsequent quarter. We see some contribution coming to the gross margins. So we are very hopeful now the margins will start improving.
So in past 8 quarters, we have lost around 500 to 600 this gross margin. So can we expect around 200 to 300 this expansion in the gross margin in the coming
I will not be very specific with the numbers, but I can only say that there would be positive growth in that. I will not be specifying exactly 1%, 2%, 3%, but yes, there would be a better result out of that.
Okay. But in initial comments, you had told that you had a negative impact on the rupee depreciation. But now you are saying that you are able to pass it on to the client. So there's a little bit confusion. Can you throw some light there?
So when we say that there was an impact of rupee depreciation, because that was to the overall industry, not specifically to the Subros, because imports getting costlier, finally impacting on the selling price to the customer, and finally it will impact the overall price of the car, which has to be increased, and the market will start having competitive environment. But to us, rupee becoming, foreign exchange becoming costlier, will impact to the extent that the compensation will be to the extent of cost. It will not have markup there. So if 100 rupees the impact, you will get 100 rupees in the selling price. So whereas MSR, if at all is 72%, so 28% markup will not be there. So that's how the impact will be on gross margin in percentage terms. So that was the comment made in the AGM, and we see when there would be ease out and the reduction will happen also in the same fashion, the percentage will improve in future.
Okay, sir. And sir, as there is a premiumization trend can be seen in the passenger vehicles, share of SUVs has gone up to the 45%, and Maruti is also focused on the mid SUV segment. So how much increase in content per vehicle we can expect in the passenger vehicle segment?
Your question, can you repeat? Your voice is quite low. If you be louder and clear on your question, it will be helpful for me. You mentioned about SUV.
Yes, sir. So the way Maruti is now more focused on the SUV segment. SUV shares has gone up to the 45% in industry. So how much increase in content per vehicle we can expect in the passenger vehicle SUV segment, sir?
So for us, thermal product SUV or non-SUV, but if it is like a sedan, impact of contribution will not be significantly different because condenser is condenser, compressor is compressor in the cases. But in SUV, as I mentioned, that this new Brezza, where we have an incremental scope of business where compressor was not there with us and now compressor will come with us. So annually 70 to 80 crore delta business which we have secured will start helping us in improving there. So definitely more sale of Brezza definitely will have a more sales, incremental sales to Subros.
Okay, sir. And you have also started supply to the Bangalore plant, alliance with the Maruti and the Toyota. And you are supplying all parts like HVAC, compressor, radiators, and, excluding the condenser. So how much increase in content will be done?
So roughly it would be 180 to 200 crore per year is the delta business which we got through this new business alliance of Toyota and Suzuki.
So sir, the content per vehicle right now is around 13,000 rupees. So how much increase can we see in this plant?
So you're talking about the you're talking about the overall content per vehicle. That's
yes,
where you're calculating 13,000. It will increase. It will increase to the extent of 8 to 10%.
8 to 10%. Okay, sir. And next question is related with the home AC segment. So backward integration would be the only solution for the margin expansion. And you are also in discussion with the few technology providers. So can you throw some light on the progress now?
So still the discussions are on. We are not able to conclude anything concrete here because right now there are a lot of differential focus which is happening because of the PLI scheme which OEMs or the brands have already committed to the government, and the investment plans are in the final shape now for implementation. So still discussions are on, but as you said correctly, the backward integration is the only solution here to improve margins in home AC aircon. Business definitely is there. Top line growth can happen anytime, but always there will be stress on the margin statement. So that's why this action is important.
So what is your revenue target for the home AC segment for FY23 and 24?
FY23-24, since as mentioned, Q1 we have already done roughly 70 crores, 69 crore precisely. So we'll be able to do around 130, 140 crore in this year.
So in last quarter you had mentioned that you will do around 180 crores kind of the numbers in this. And you had also capacity of around doing 250 crores to 300 crores.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Abhishek sir, could you please be louder? Your voice is feeble.
So, sir, in the last quarter, you had mentioned around that you will do around 180 crores. You are able to do around 250 crores to 300 crores. So why you are slow in this segment?
Yeah. So Abhishek, as I mentioned just now, that the revenue you can increase to any number, 180, 250, 300 crore is not a problem in this space. But as long as you are able to compromise on the margin statement. So since these businesses are at very high NSR and the gross margins are not comparable to our other segment margins, so we are not willing to sacrifice margins substantially. That's why in the increasing trend market where the fluctuations are very high, extraordinary high, we want to go slow as of now. But of course, there is no compromise on the overall revenue potential that we can realize anytime.
Okay, sir. And my last question is related with your capacity utilization, which is around 85 to 90% now. And as we are looking industry growth of 15 to 20% for FY23, so can we expect further capex of around 200 or 300 crores?
No. reason being that for this year, FY22-23 capacities have already been tied up and the capacities are either available or at the final stage of availability. So for this year, we don't see any big thing which is coming on. And if we take a sustainable industry growth target between 6 to 8% in next 4 to 5 years, so only the incremental investment would be there, and which is already every time we say that between 70 crore or 90 crore is our regular capex which we are doing. That is majorly for the debottlenecking of machines which are impacting overall capacity. 200-300 crore requirement is there when there is a greenfield project, and we have no plan for expansion of any greenfield new project as of now. So we will concentrate on these level of investment per year only. It would be less than 100 for next 2 to 3 years, but it may not be crossing beyond.
But your maintenance capacity is already 40 to 50 crores, and you are talking about the 70 to 100 crores kind of the capex only. Don't you think that it is a lower number, sir?
No, it is not. Because as I mentioned, we are not investing into full lines. So there are certain machines where the capacities are already available. So for debottlenecking, we don't need a big investment. So the capacities would be in this range only.
Okay, sir. Thanks, sir. That's all from my side.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad. I repeat, if you have a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad. We are having a question from Vaibhav Gupta from Bowhead India Fund. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. I want to understand how would our realization vary in the strong hybrid variant of Grand Vitara?
So in strong hybrid, the differential in thermal products is the radiator and the compressor. So radiator is a high efficiency radiator, which is costlier by around 10 to 15% from a conventional radiator. Electric compressor is required for hybrid, where we don't have business in Grand Vitara for that particular portion. For other model of Vitara, which is wired C, we have the business not for the electric.
Okay, sir. So, like 40 to 50% bookings have been for the hybrid, strong hybrid variant. So we won't be present there. Is that understanding correct?
No, we will be present other than compressor.
The compressor, okay. And realization of compressor is around 6,000, 7,000?
No, it would be roughly 4 to 4,500.
4 to 4,500. Okay, sir. And sir, for the Mahindra Scorpio and XUV 700, so which parts are we supplying there, and what is the kit value?
So kit value for Mahindra new launch for SUV 700, it is only the pipes which we are supplying. So it will be roughly around 1,500 to around 2,000 number. And for Scorpio, it would be roughly around 4,500.
And what is the part for Scorpio?
That is the HVAC part.
HVAC part, okay, sir. And sir, Mahindra is also going to unveil an electric car on 15th August. So would we be present there?
This is a proto car as of now, or maybe the initial launch, but the main platform which are planned for future discussions are still on to finalize the specs.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad. I repeat, if you have a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad. We are having a follow-up question from Abhishek Jain from Dolat Capital. Please go ahead.
Thanks for opportunity again. So now lead time of import shipment started to go down. Will it help to improve your working capital situation?
Abhishek, your voice is low. I'm sorry. There is some.
Sir, now lead time of import shipment started to go down. Will it help to improve your working capital situation?
Yes, that is true. As I mentioned, that since there was a threat of lockdowns and the lead times were also very high, despite even the containers availability was a challenge. So that's why we were forced to have a higher inventory level to mitigate that risk. But if overall lead times start improving and we are able to get the material as in the previous time within 21 days sailing time, so definitely inventory levels will be at the normal situation. So that will ease out the working capital requirement.
So what is your net debt right now, including short-term and long-term?
Hemant, can you answer, please?
Yeah. Short-term loan is nil. There's no loan. On long term, it is 21 crores as on first quarter end.
So your total net debt is only 21 crore.
Pardon?
So your net debt is only 21 crore, right?
Only 21 crore. Yes.
Okay. And my last question is regarding the inventory situation. How is the inventory situation for the single core or normal? It is on a normal level or at a higher level?
So inventory as of now is at a higher level, which will be reduced in the next 4 to 5 months. So we have a stock because of these global situations, the delayed container arrival and the China issue. So we have kept some safety stocks at our stores.
Okay. And last question is related to bookkeeping. What was the revenue from the passenger vehicle aircon, radiator, and bus segment?
Yeah, over to you, Duggal.
So radiator sales during this quarter is around 82 crores.
Okay.
And if we exclude radiator from 708 crores, so that is remaining is non-radiator and thermal AC business.
And I think bus and truck segment, how much was revenue?
For each segment?
Bus and truck.
Bus. Okay, so buses is 10 crore in this quarter and truck is 24 crores.
Okay, sir. Thank you. That's all from me.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad. I repeat, if you have a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad. We will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad. I repeat, if you have a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad. There are no further questions. Now I hand over the floor to the management for the closing comments.
Thank you. So we have already covered the most part in our initial comment as well as while replying the questions we have tried to address that for our industry scenarios. So no more comments from our side.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Aditya Birla Money, this concludes your conference call for today. Thank you for your participation and for using Subros conference call service. You may disconnect your lines now. Thank you and have a pleasant day.
Thank you.
Your conference is no longer being recorded.
Thank you, sir.